The True Blue Mini USB plug-and-play drive for the PlayStation Classic includes 101 games, and yes, this is a very, very controversial device. A lot of people have been talking about it. Today, we're going to take a look, see what this thing can do, give you guys my thoughts. So here's the packaging. Side of the box just tells you how it works. Just like normal, unplug your power, plug in the USB drive, plug it back in, power it up, you're good to go. You can also press triangle and select to return to the main menu. Back of the box, nothing. We do got some PlayStation logos, kind of interesting. Over 100 of your favorite classic PlayStation games exclusive to this pack. Not sure how they're exclusive, but okay. So here it is. Let's go ahead and get this little thing out of here. These things go for anywhere between 20 to like 30 bucks or so. And, you know, we've looked at a lot of stuff, a lot of builds, and we've never had to pay for anything other than our standard USB drive. This does come with a little USB hub, 4-port USB hub, but with this build, doesn't really do much of a difference there. Here's the actual drive. Definitely dollar store feel here. They really soldier boyed this one up. And, you know, I guess as long as it works, that's what matters. It's a pretty big drive. You know me, I like the slim, you know, the drives from Samsung and SanDisk, the really slim profile ones. I really don't like, you know, a 2-inch drive sticking out of my PlayStation. But there is that. You would plug it into port 2. If you want to use the hub, you could plug it into port 1, plug in your first player controller on the front, and you're good to go. You can plug in the second player into the next port. The other two ports aren't really going to be of much use, as this is based off of some older software. I'm not 100% what the actual build is. The drive is locked, so you can't look at anything. But yeah, since it's not including any newer emulators, RetroArch, or anything like that, there's no 4-player support. So this USB hub is rather pointless, to be honest with you. But if you have a PlayStation Classic where you've loaded the BleemSync payload, the newest BleemSync build, you can use Otg Support, and this does work with this drive. It will boot through an OTG adapter if you've already done that step. I have a video up for that if you want to check it out. It does make things a little cleaner and nicer. Now, there's been a lot of controversy concerning this device. People saying that they're loading up some kind of malware, some kind of script that makes it so you can't load anything else. That's not true. Their little script doesn't load anything into the kernel. All it does is prevent people from copying the drive and loading it onto another drive and using it that way. There are workarounds. You still can use your AutoBleem builds, your BleemSync builds, if you've loaded this drive on your system. So just wanted to point that out because there's been a lot of debate, a lot of talk about it. But forget all that noise. Let's plug this in, power it up, and see what it does. Let's get this party started. So with this USB drive inserted, everything does boot up like normal. You get the Sony Interactive Entertainment logo screen, the health and safety warning screen, and then it boots up straight into the classic user interface. Like I've stated, there's nothing special with this build as far as options go or anything like that. It is just a bare bones build based off of an older software from the way it seems to me. So I'm going to go ahead and scroll through the list of games. I'm not going to name everything off, just give you an idea of what's included. And there are a lot of cool games. I'm not seeing anything that's exclusive to this True Blue company. I'm just seeing, you know, a bunch of games that any of us could add to our own drive fairly easily. But I guess some people are interested in things like this due to the convenience, just the plug and play nature. But I do have some concerns. Any of the legalities, the, you know, morals and ethics, all that craziness, set all that stuff aside. My concerns with this drive in particular is that since it's locked down, I cannot access it, and you cannot add or remove games from this. I am not 100% what kind of file formats they are using. I would imagine with this being a 64 gigabyte build that they're using a lot of PBP files. Now, the concern with that is there are a decent little handful of multi-disc games on this build. Now, depending upon how they put this together, if they are PBP files, we may not be able to change our discs. And I'm letting you know right now, I am not willing to play through to the point of disc changing goodness on any of these role-playing games just to find out that I cannot change disks and I cannot access the USB drive to back up any files or to do anything like that. So that is one of the biggest cons. It's a big unknown. I can't say 100% that it's a con. It's an unknown, so that is a con to me, one that I'm not willing to risk. So there's the list of games. That's my biggest concern. Now, everything here is NTSC version. You're not getting any PAL region games. Everything I have played plays just fine. Haven't seen any kind of crazy issues with, the performance of the games. You don't have access to any, emulator options, any of the HD scaling. You got no access to any of that. No memory card management, nothing. This performs just the same as the system does stock. That can be a con for some, but for some people, they may not care. But with that said, let's go ahead and check out the gameplay of a few games and see how it performs. That's going to be one of the biggest things. And I have not really seen any issues, to be honest with you, but I want you to see it for yourself. Performs just like the original emulator on the system because that is what we are being presented with. So Soul Blade, jump right into it. Pretty awesome game. Definitely love playing this one back in the day. As you see, everything's running fairly well. The problem, like I said, with the multi-disc games as well is even if it was properly done with some of these games and the way things work, and we cannot access any emulator settings, there's no guarantee the way they have this set up that the change disc option will work, because we've ran into plenty issues like that in the past with other builds. But normally you would just access the emulator settings screen by pressing select and triangle, and that would take you to where you could swap discs, change some settings if you so chose. On this particular drive and build, the select and triangle button does not access any kind of menu. We're going to hit it right now, select and triangle. It is a nice feature to have in that it takes us back to the main menu, our game select screen. We can save, our previous file there, or we could, our save state, our resume point. We don't have any options with that. So that may be a con for a lot of people who are used to newer builds. But hey, it is what it is. It's a very bare bones build, a very bare, simple solution for people that have no qualms with buying a drive that is loaded up. There's tons of companies out there selling these things, and it's surprising to see so many places selling this thing. I see them on Walmart.com, Amazon, all over the place. I mean, there's no shame in the game here, I guess. And it's hard to recommend something like this, in my opinion, knowing what I know, dealing with what I have dealt with, and sharing the things that I have shared on this channel. Sure, it's cheap, it's a simple solution, but at the same time, those unknowns with multi-disc games bother me. It bothers me to no end, and that alone makes it so I cannot recommend a drive like this, because there's really no support. There's no troubleshooting because we cannot access anything on the drive. And knowing that we can easily build our own, and there are resources out there willing to help you get set up in a fairly simple manner, just downloading some files and seeking a little bit of help goes a huge distance. For some people, they don't want to bother with none of that. I get it. I really do. It's your money. Do with it as you choose. But for me, this is not something, even if it was only $15, I mean, maybe I would buy it out of curiosity, but at this point, this is not something I'm going to use. I have better solutions. I love Auto Bleem. I love being able to mess around with settings for the games, having different themes, just having all the options that we do, being able to load up, Retro Boot with RetroArch is really awesome as well. with this, it's going to be fine for those people who just want to play PlayStation 1 games and just keep it very simple. I guess it's fine, but like I said, it's so hard to recommend something that we can get for free. So that's one of the biggest cons as well. The unknown factors that I spoke about earlier, and then also being able to access all this stuff just by downloading things, seeking out help. It's stuff that you shouldn't have to pay for, but people still will. And hey, just wanted to showcase this thing working, kind of dispel some of the concerns and issues with it, and kind of bring up some more just in case. So there we have it. The True Blue Crackhead Pack, right? Kind of strange name, I think. But I really appreciate you guys hanging out with me, taking a look at the True Blue Mini. We've got a lot of PlayStation Classic content on this channel. I do have a playlist. It'll be linked in the description. Definitely recommend taking a look at my more recent videos, with the Otg support, the newest Auto Bleem build, all that kind of stuff. I think if you're new to the PlayStation Classic and getting things like this running, you will be really impressed with all the latest stuff that we've taken a look at. And if you compare that to what we looked at today, I think the choice is obvious, unless you have no choice. But I think we all have choices, right? You could choose to buy something like this, or you can build it yourself, seek out help, and have a lot more well-rounded quality setup going for you. So there you go. Appreciate it. And I will catch you guys next time. Peace out. Bye-bye. And boom. Bye.